noticed that life, especially recently, has become about terms and conditions? Really about everything we have to sign for. If you go to a till in a shop these days, they want to know your email address so they can send you the terms and conditions. And terms and conditions have become quite prevalent recently when it comes to TVs. Can you remember the very first TV where you had to read terms and conditions before you could watch it? It has to be a smart TV. I mean, why do we need terms and conditions to watch a flipping TV? It's a TV. We're supposed to just plug it in, tune it in, and that's it. We don't need terms and conditions to watch a TV. But of course, over the last 10 years or so, there's been something called a smart TV. And smart TV have apps, and with apps comes licenses, and with licenses comes rules and regulations, and you must obey. Anyway, I'm going to show you something here, and for a lot of you, you wouldn't have seen these either before, or you wouldn't have seen these variants for a heck of a long time, probably 6 or 7 years. Take a look at these old apps. There's only 4 of them. There's the old BBC iPlayer app. If you're outside of the UK, you won't see that particular one. You may see a BBC World. There's the Amazon app, which is now Prime. The old-fashioned YouTube app, and of course, quite an old one for Netflix too. In saying that, the Netflix one has almost gone full circle, because the one that's around at the moment is very similar. Now, you're looking at these apps through a smart Blu-ray player that has never, ever been connected to the internet. I bought it faulty from a lady about 4 years ago. We repaired the power supply, and I said to her, "This is a smart Blu-ray player, isn't it?" And she gave me this look as if to say, "I haven't the faintest idea what you're talking about." So she never connected it up to the internet, and since I've had it, I've just been using it from time to time as a test system. So I haven't used it. And it got me thinking, because something happened to my TV yesterday. And if you've got an LG TV, it's probably happened to you, especially if it's quite a recent TV. I think my TV, it's not brand new, it's about 3 or 4 years old, maybe a little bit older now, but it's still getting the updates for the apps. But on this particular occasion, something weird happened. It was quite a big update. And before I could watch the TV again, I had to sign up to the terms and conditions. Well, I say sign up. I just had to tick the boxes. And that just got me thinking, when did this actually start? Because it really does seem now, when it comes to electronic gadgets, that even though we hand over hard-earned cash for them, and a lot of cash it is too, we never actually own them. Why on earth do we have to sign up to terms and conditions so we just want to watch TV? And so I tried this yesterday when they sent this update through, and I thought, I don't use the apps on the TV at home. I just don't. So I won't bother. So I didn't tick the boxes. And what do you think happened if I didn't agree to the terms and conditions? Well, it went no further. I was not allowed to watch the TV. That was it. It was just a big pile of junk that could do nothing. I couldn't even plug a HDMI into it and watch something from an external device. It wouldn't let me go any further. So if you don't agree to the terms and conditions, if you don't agree to the apps, then unfortunately, your TV just becomes an absolute waste of time. And let's face it, it becomes an absolute expensive waste of time. Now, I don't think at the moment there's a TV on the marketplace that you can purchase that isn't smart. I think every one of them is a smart device of some sorts. There was a big argument going back 5 or 6 years about these apps that are on there, and I'll just take you back to the apps on this one, even though they are terribly old. But of course, if I were to plug this Blu-ray player into an internet source now, it would ask me to do the update. Probably going to be 3 or 4 updates, because it's never been plugged into the internet before in its life. And you can bet your bottom dollar that every single one of those apps will disappear. Because in the olden days, about 5 or 6 years ago, probably longer than that now, the apps were never licensed for a long time. And this is something that's really confused me. I get so many questions with people asking me about this. And I get so many calls on a monthly basis, not necessarily a weekly basis, but on a monthly basis from customers saying, my TV's gone faulty. And I'll say, oh, really? What's happened? And they'll say, well, I've switched on Netflix and it's not giving me Netflix. Okay, what happens if you switch on YouTube? Yeah, that's fine. Prime Video? That's okay. Is the TV working all right besides that? Yes, it's just Netflix. And it's obvious that the Netflix has just stopped being supported by the TV provider. This was happening a lot several years ago in the UK. If you're watching this outside the UK, in Europe and America, you won't have this. But there was a governmental discussion about apps on TV and the smart services, because people were just getting fed up of the fact that they bought a smart TV or a smart device. It could have been a smart Blu-ray player or DVD recorder, and they were using it for the apps, but then they switched on after a couple of years and the apps just weren't being supported. Now, I don't really understand the licensing rules on what's going on here. In the UK now, after this governmental decision, we have something which is called Freeview Play, which is an agreement, I believe, that the main apps of the world will be on Freeview Play and they will stay on for some considerable time. I think Freeview Play's now been running for about 5 or 6 years, maybe just a little bit longer. And it means those apps should stay live. I don't think they'll stay live indefinitely, but they should stay live. And that is such a problem, because if we go into a TV shop and we see a TV and we think, oh, that's got the Disney Channel on, I want to buy it. So you buy this TV, and then 3 or 4 years down the line, maybe a bit longer, but sometimes it's less. Sometimes it really is fewer years. They just disappear. The licensing runs out. And as I indicated earlier, I don't really understand the licensing, because it doesn't make sense to me. Surely it's better for both parties, the app manufacturer. Let's take Netflix for an example, and let's take LG for a TV model example. If LG are charging Netflix to be on their TV service, well, surely that goes against the grain a bit, because LG would surely welcome Netflix on their TVs, because it's a big thing in 2025. Everybody wants Netflix as an app. They may not sign up to it 12 months of the year, but they want it there as an app. So if LG are charging Netflix, that's going to stop people from buying LG TVs if that service wasn't on there. And the same goes for Netflix. If Netflix are charging LG to use their logo and use their app to put on their products, well, surely that goes against the grain for Netflix, because Netflix want to be on every TV set, surely, just like the rest, Prime Video and YouTube. So I don't understand exactly what the licensing laws are and who charges whom, how much it is, and why it only stays on for an infinite amount of time. As I say, sometimes it's just a couple of years. But in the UK, we now have this Freeview Play thing, which means they should stay on, well, I was told forever. But I remember when I first became a TV engineer, I was told that LED backlights in a TV would last forever. Still makes me smile. So the problem is here as the customer. We're going in to buy something that we like, and we want to be able to use it for exactly the same service that we buy it 5, 10 years down the line. It's not our fault that we're looking after the TVs and they're lasting 10 years, or maybe we do get them repaired and keep the TV going for several years later. The apps should not be disappearing. And this is a fundamental problem with TVs, not just in the UK, but all over the world. You buy the TV because it's a smart TV. It's got 1, 2, 3 of your favourite apps on there, but they're not lasting for long. And the reason they're not lasting for long, of course, is we ticked the terms and conditions. We pretended that we'd read them all. Of course, we haven't. I think it's almost impossible to scroll down and have a look through all the literature. Maybe somebody's done it. If you've done it, let me know in the comments, will you? So it is a bit of a rip-off. And even though it's got slightly better, I think we're going to see in the next couple of years things disappearing from the Freeview Play side of things in the UK. You may be watching this on a TV which has already lost some of its apps. I mean, it's not really on. It's a bit like if you've bought a smart dishwasher and you wake up one day and all of a sudden the low timing cycle has disappeared. Or there's a part of it that just doesn't work anymore because they've decided that they're not going to support that any longer. I think dishwasher is probably a bad example, but there are smart dishwashers. Do you have to connect them to the Wi-Fi? I'm not too sure. But we have to be careful because it looks like now, even though we're handing over money for these things, and as I mentioned earlier, a lot of money, we're not owning them. We're not in control of them. They're in control of them. And some of these latest TVs have also got adverts. If you connect it to the internet, they're trying to sell you products or showing you photographs of products on certain channels, especially around the TV guide and the internet guide. And they're just selling you things. You just don't own the TV anymore. They seem to own you, and it doesn't seem right. And why did we sign up to this? So I don't think in 2025 we can buy a TV and just watch it as a TV without terms and conditions. As I mentioned earlier, when was the last time that you actually bought a TV that didn't have terms and conditions? Which was the very first TV that offered terms and conditions? It must have been some of the very early plasmas that went smart. They must have been the first ones, because if it doesn't connect to the internet, then there's no need for us to tick a box that we agree to terms and conditions. At the end of the day, it's just a TV. It just seems weird and it doesn't seem right. Let me know in the comments if you've got a TV that you haven't had to sign up to any terms and conditions to. I mean, if you're buying some sort of smart stick and sticking it in your TV, that's completely different. But again, if you reset your TV, you probably do have to say yes to the terms and conditions, even if it hasn't got any smart services anymore. Doesn't seem right, it doesn't seem fair, and it doesn't seem like the little man is going to get a good deal in all of this. Isn't that always the case though? Thanks for watching.